So let's say this guy here, this PC here is in VLAN 10, and it wants to talk to a switch here in VLAN 20. Well, because we're in different VLANs, even though we're on the same switch, they have to go through a routing device like a router and then come back out again. So the whole thing about having a router and a switch, two separate devices to do the same thing, is, well, why not amalgamate both the router and the switch into one central device? And that's what we're going to be talking about by using a multi-layer switch. So on day 12, there is a lab available, and you can just open it up. Just close the door there. My apologies for my dog. Let me know when you have all that.
What packet tracer file is it, Lee?
It's under multi-layer switch under day 12. Let me go into it myself here. One second. So go to Dropbox, CCNA material, slides, labs, and tutorials. Day 12, multi-layer switch, and you have the packet tracer lab file in there. So let me know when everyone has received it. Yep. So this is what we're going to be configuring today.
Grant.
Okay, is there anybody still waiting on loading it up, or? Okay. Well, you know, the thing is, most companies now will have, you'll have your routers, you still will have your routers, because, you know, your core routers, it takes a standalone. So where if it's a large company and you're dealing with a lot of traffic in and out of your company, it is always good to have, you know, two core routers, one for redundancy, because nothing beats routing like an actual physical router. But down the layer, it always is good to have like a multi-layer switch instead of your older kind of your layer 2 switches. Now the difference really between your layer 2 switches and your multi-layer switch, well, you know, apart from the functionality, is layer 2 switches are a lot cheaper. You know, you pick up a layer 2 switch for very little. Next week we might just go through your, you know, network design. You have your 3 layers: your core layer, your distribution layer, and your access layer. Your access layer was where the PC is connected to the switch, like you have here, and they're all in the same device. That typically is a layer 2 device. And then into your distribution layer, you'll have this thing called a multi-layer switch, which can route between different VLANs. So if you have a look at the setup here, what we're looking to do is we've got a red VLAN, and that's on the 10 network, VLAN 10. So it'll be 10.0.10.0. We've got a blue network or blue VLAN. Remember, VLAN is just a network. It's just another name for network. And that's going to be on the 10.0.20 subnet. That'll be VLAN 20, okay? We're going to be setting up the VLANs on each of the switches, and we're setting up a default gateway. So without the multi-layer switch, if this was just another layer 2 switch, that would just mean that the red PCs, you know, across the 3 switches would only be able to communicate with the red PCs, and the blue PCs would only be able to talk to the blue PCs. But the multi-layer switch allows routing on the actual device. Okay, so what I'll do is we'll go through it. You know, we'll start at the start. We'll go through the left switch first, configure the VLANs, configure the ports, do the right switch then, and then configure the multi-layer switch. Okay, and then we should be able to ping across all 6 devices. Again, I'm going to go through this slowly. What I think is slowly might be a little bit fast for you, so please you know, let me know. And sometimes I can kind of tend to go too fast. Let me know if I go too fast, pull me up and I'll go slower. This is the only lab we're doing this evening. So we do have a bit of time as well, okay? The way it's physically set up, let me just log in here, just to have a look here. Yeah, okay. Another thing is, right, I've set this up, say PC1 here is connected to port 1 on the left-hand switch. If I move it across, you'll see here, there's, if you can see it, FA 0/1 and 0/2 is up because PC1 is connected to 0/1, PC2 is connected to 0/3. Okay, on the multi-layer switch, PC3 is connected to FA 0/3. If that goes across, and PC4 is connected to FA 0/4. PC5 on the right-hand switch is connected to FA 0/5. Why is that keep on? And PC6 is connected to FA 0/6. That's just not going in. Okay, is there any questions in terms of the actual design there? On this, the multi-layer switch, we're going to create an SVI. An SVI stands for Switch Virtual Interface. And this is like the default gateway IP address. But it's not called a default gateway, it's called an SVI, Switch Virtual Interface. Okay, and we'll go through that when we're actually configuring. So what I'll do first is we will configure PC1 to be in VLAN 10, it's the red VLAN, PC2 in VLAN blue, which is the VLAN 20, and PC3 red, PC4 blue, PC5 red, PC6 blue. Okay, and we'll go through that. Okay, any questions on that at all, or? Okay.
No, all good.
Right, so click in here. If you can configure the VLANs on your own, you know, please just go ahead and, you know, if you're comfortable with doing it. So if I do this, we'll do show VLAN. We only have our VLAN 1 by default. We don't have any other VLANs created yet. So we're going to create 2 VLANs. Big space T, VLAN space 10. We give it a name, namespace red. Exit, VLAN space 20, namespace blue. Exit. So there's my 2 VLANs just created, but there's no ports associated with them. I've created VLAN 10, I'm going to call it red VLAN, VLAN 20, I'm going to call it the blue VLAN. Okay. The names are only there for humans, so we can distinguish the VLANs. Switches switch per VLAN number and per VLAN tag. So if I do show VLAN, we can see blue VLAN and red VLAN, but there's no actual ports. Okay, so we need to put in, we need to associate FA 0/1 with the red VLAN and FA 0/2 with the blue VLAN. So go in to the actual interface mode, interface FA 0/1, switch port access VLAN space 10. Interface FA 0/2, switch port access VLAN 20. And you'll see that change in there. You'll see the ports kind of just get reset. Let me know when you're finished that, guys. What's up? Anyone still putting in commands? Okay. We go over to the right hand side of the switch and we do the exact same thing ourselves over there. Okay. So I'm going to configure PC5 to be in VLAN 10 and configure PC6 to be in VLAN 20. So what I'll do is go ahead, if remember, try and figure it out yourselves from this here. Okay, see if you can figure it out yourselves, and then I'll just spend 2 minutes configuring that yourselves, and then I'll go through widgets. Okay. Okay, let's go in here on the right hand side of the switch and FA0/5. Okay, so we create the VLANs again. So enable config space T, VLAN space 10 in red, VLAN space 20 in blue. Okay, and then you go into the interfaces, interface FA0/5, switch port access VLAN 10, which is the red one, interface FA0/6, switch port access VLAN 20, and then just do a show VLAN. Just make sure that that is correct. Always verify your work. Okay, guys, good stuff. Does anyone need more time? Okay, then, oh good, geez, we're offline today. Well, then we're going to go and configure these ports on the multi-layer switch. So we'll treat the multi-layer switch as just a layer 2 switch for the moment. So we're going to configure VLAN 10, which is the red one, and PC3 is going to be installed on that. VLAN 20, which is the blue one, and PC4 is going to be installed on that. Okay, so off you go, do that there, and then I'll come and we'll verify it. Are we all done? Good stuff. Cool. Okay, so we will go in to the multi-layer switch, create the VLANs, enable, big space T, VLAN space 10, name is red, VLAN space 20, name is blue. Exit. Interface FA 0/3, switch port mode, actually switch port access VLAN 10, interface FA 0/4, switch port access VLAN 20. So VLAN. Okay. All good there?
Yep.
Cool. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Good.
Okay.
All good.
So if we have a look at this point here now, right? We're just these ports are getting reset. If PC1 here, the IP address is 10.0.10.10, we should be able to ping 10.0.10.11 or 10.0.10.12, or will we be?
No.
Why?
The gateway.
But if they're all in the same subnet, you're very close. Like if you're on the same network as another device, do you need to have a default gateway installed?
No.
No.
Because they're not in the native LAN, is it?
The VLAN is coming into it, kind of like the native VLAN, very close, but what we're missing, the kind of the big elephant in the corner of the room there is
It's the routing.
trunking.
Trunking, sorry.
Trunking. Because the thing is, right, trunking is the technology that carries multiple VLANs between different switches. So if I go into the multi-layer switch here, and remember the trunk connection, the physical connection, we have a cable going from FA 0/24 to FA 0/24. You see that there? If I have a look here, FA 0/24 is not configured as a trunk link. When you do show VLAN and you see your supposedly trunk port in here, that is telling you that it's not configured properly as a trunk link, and it's an access port, because show VLAN only shows you your access ports, and it's an access port associated with VLAN 1. So that will mean that PC1, PC3, and PC5 will not be able to go across this connection because it's set up as an access port associated with VLAN 1. If PC1 was in VLAN 1, PC3 was in VLAN 1, and PC5 was in VLAN 1, then that would be no problem because it would be the same network. But the problem is that it's an access port associated with VLAN 1. We need to configure this as a trunk link. Okay, so we go in here, enable, big space T, interface FA 0/24, switch port mode, trunk. Always configure your trunk links on your switches. Always hard code them because it's such an important connection. Don't let the switches auto negotiate to whether, don't let the switches decide for you automatically whether it's a trunk link or not. You decide. You're the network engineer. You say you're going to be a trunk connection. I don't want this auto negotiation crap, because that can lead to problems. So go in here and manually configure it. Interface FA 0/24. Now you may get an error with this. Switch port mode trunk. Yeah, you get this on the multi-layers. I don't understand why it gives you this error, because if you're saying switch port mode trunk, that should take it. The switch should go, okay, you really want to hard code this as a trunk link. So what you need to do here is you need to tell the switch to use the encapsulation 802.1q. Switch port, trunk, encapsulation.1q. That is gone. This command is gone in later versions of the multi-layer switch. You wouldn't have to do that. If you do switch port mode trunk, that's enough. And then switch port trunk encapsulation.1q. And now you can do switch port mode trunk, and you won't get an error. Okay, so do that on FA0/24 and FA0/23. Show CDP neighbors. I believe it's, yeah, FA0/23. Remember, CDP neighbors, really, really useful because it shows you the kind of network layout. Really useful here. Okay, so set up the trunk links on FA0/24 and FA0/23. Interface FA0/23, switch port mode, trunk won't work, switch port, trunk, encapsulation, that won't do. And then switch port mode trunk. On the right here, the same thing. So neighbors, yeah, okay, big space T, interface FA0/23, switch port mode trunk. Okay, I'll actually just put in the commands here just for, because I went through fairly quick on that. The two commands are highlighted there in blue. Let me know when you're all finished, guys. Okay, are we all done? Now our next test is if these are trunk links, and you can do a show interface trunk. Do a show interface trunk on the multi-layer switch here. And there we go. We got two ports acting as our trunk links, FA0/23 and FA0/24. It's allowing all the VLANs, VLAN 1, VLAN 10, and VLAN 20. Okay, that's what you should see. If you don't see that on the multi-layer switch, let me know. Okay, Agart, Gary, Graham, John, Liam, Mark. Richie, Stephen, Tony. All right, guys.
Yeah, all good.
Cool.
Oh,
Good
all
stuff.
good, whole thing's working.
Good, good. Okay, so the next thing then is once you have your trunks, let's do a ping. The red guy, because it's just a standard trunk, the red PCs will be able to ping the red PCs, the blue PCs will be able to ping the blue PCs. We haven't set up routing on our layer 3 switch. It's still working as a layer 2 bog standard switch because we haven't configured IP routing on our multi-layer switch. So red guys will be able to ping the red guys, but the red guys will not be able to ping the blue guys yet. So we can just run a quick ping. Ping 10.0.10.11. Working 10.0.10.12, and that's working. We can try and ping 10.0.20.12, and it won't ping. Okay. Next thing we need to do is go in to our multi-layer switch and set this up. So if I do a show IP route here, we don't even have a routing table. Just there's nothing there. This is just a standard layer 2 switch at the moment. So the first thing you need to do is you need to turn on the service. You need to enable the routing service, and you enable it by saying IP routing. We exit and now do a show IP route. You'll get a very similar routing table to what you would get on a router with all the different protocols there. You didn't get that before until you enable IP routing. Okay. So now, all we have to do now is set up our IP addresses, which will act as the default gateways. If we go back to an actual routing lab, let me just see if I have a routing lab here set up. Just one moment. Yeah, you can see here, right? Like on a normal router, the IP address of the interface, of the physical interface of where you're getting connected is going to be the default gateway. So if you can see here on R1 is all this network behind us, this 1.1.0 network is physically connected to FA 0/0. And that there will be the default gateway. The IP address of that physical interface will be the default gateway for all the devices attached to that network. Does that make sense? It works a little bit different with multi-layer switching. With multi-layer switch, you don't assign an IP address to a physical interface. You do it on the actual VLAN, and it's called a switch virtual interface, or an SVI. So you go into the VLAN. Now you don't, so you say fixed base T, and it's a little bit different of a command. You say interface VLAN and the VLAN number, which is VLAN 10. And in here is where you configure the parameters, which will be the default gateway for all the devices associated with VLAN 10, spanning across multiple switches. So it goes config-if, and then you just assign an IP address in the normal way. IP address 10.10, oh sorry, was it 10.0.10.1? Let me just get that 10.0.10.1, yeah. space 255, 255, 255, 0. This is your SBI. Remember, this address that you assign will have to be used as the default gateway for all the PCs, all the red PCs associated with VLAN 10. Usually, obviously, usually it's the very first address. Exit, interface, VLAN 20, IP address 10, 0, 20.1, 255, 255, 255, 0. And exit. So go ahead and do that there.
If you have more than one multi-layer switch, you have to do this in all of them.
If you have more than one multi-layer switch, generally you will associate. No, you'll have to. You don't really need more than one. Like you'll have one which will act as the default gateway for all the others. So, if you had another multi-layer switch, you would set it up in a redundancy mode where you'd use HSRP, which we talked about last week, and that would be. Then you wouldn't use an SBI, you would use your phantom or virtual address. So if you added an extra multi-layer switch, you would have to kind of, the best way to do that would be in a redundancy kind of back an active or standby mode. But really, in this scenario here, one switch is the default gateway for all the devices, because that's where they want to send the packets across them.
Okay, thank you.
That's it. To verify, show IP int brief. And this is what you never really see on layer 2 switches, but you're going to see it here. Down the bottom, VLAN 10 and an IP address assigned, VLAN 20 and IP address assigned. Very, very simple to set it up. You enable it, the layer 3 functionality by typing IP routing. Then you create your switch virtual interface by using the interface VLAN command, and then you can just put in your commands such as show IP route, and it knows about these two subnets, and show IP int brief. The last goal here is to run pings between PC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because now they're going to go through and they're going to be routed as per the multi-layer switch. So we can check it out. Ping 10.0.20.10 might fail the first time because it has the R for its default gateway. We'll pass a second. Ten 0 20 11. And 10 0 2012. That's it. Any questions on that, guys?
That works.
It works. It's fairly simple when you're following the steps on the screen, but say a different story if you're doing it from scratch.
Just do the lab. There's a kind of or what you do is just watch the video and have it on one screen and then just type it in as we're going on. The recording, that's a good thing about the recording is you can kind of stop it and you can fast forward and you can slow it down and stuff.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. Short and sweet. Unless you have any other questions, guys.
I'm all good.
Yeah, all good.
Good stuff. Cool. All right. have a good weekend. Hopefully it'll be a nice warmer. Don't need too many Easter eggs. And we'll see us back here on Tuesday.
Not
Cheers,
Kinder
Lee.
ones anyway.
What?
Yeah, not
It's
Kinder ones.
not Kinder ones.
Yeah. Oh, you can eat enough of them as well.
Right,
Okay,
cheers, lads,
guys.
have a good one.
Cheers,
Guys,
cheers, lads. Good luck.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye bye.
Thanks, bye-bye.
Thanks.